Have you ever walked into your home after a long, exhausting day and felt like the stress followed you through the front door? You take off your shoes, toss your keys on the counter, and maybe slump onto the couch. But something still feels heavy. The tension doesn't leave. Instead, it settles in, almost like your home is echoing the mental noise you brought in with you. Now imagine this instead. You walk through your front door and quietly say a few words, just a short phrase. Instantly something shifts, not outside but inside. Your breath deepens. Your shoulders soften. The mood of your home begins to feel different, lighter, calmer, clearer. What if the simple act of speaking one intentional sentence could change your entire state of mind, day after day? Not because it's magic, but because your subconscious is always listening, always responding. Here's the truth most people never realize. The first words you speak when you step into your home act like a command to your inner world. They tell your nervous system what to expect. They set the emotional tone for your evening, and over time, they program your mind to either find peace or stay stuck in tension. So today, I want to show you how to use one simple habit, saying a short phrase upon entering, to transform your relationship with your home, your energy, and even your sleep. Before we go deeper, take a moment and participate. Write in the comments, "My home is a space of peace and clarity." This helps anchor what you're learning. And if you find value in this kind of content, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know. Now, let's unpack why this small phrase holds such unusual power. You see, your subconscious doesn't filter like your conscious mind. It doesn't ask, "Is this reasonable?" or "Do I agree?" It simply absorbs and responds. This is why negative self-talk affects your mood even if you don't mean it. It's why repeating a calming sentence, even one you don't fully believe yet, can start to shift your actual state of being. When you say something positive and intentional at the threshold of your home, you are creating an anchor, a neural and emotional anchor that eventually becomes a pattern. Think of it like tuning an instrument. If you walk into your house and mutter, "Ugh, I'm so tired," or "Another awful day," you are tuning your whole environment to a frequency of depletion and stress. But if you pause and say, "I return to calm," or "This space restores me," your body begins to prepare for rest, not more battle. This habit works because the entryway is a transition point. In psychology, we call these liminal moments, the in-between spaces where identity shifts. You are leaving one mode, the outside world, with its noise and demands, and entering another, your inner world, your sanctuary. What you say here matters. It tells your body, "You're safe now, you can let go." Let's look at what happens in the nervous system. When you enter your home with stress still buzzing through your system, your body remains in a state of low-level alertness. Heart rate elevated, muscles slightly tense, mind still scanning for problems. But the moment you give it a clear verbal signal, a grounding sentence, your parasympathetic nervous system can engage. That's the branch responsible for rest, digestion, healing, and restoration. This isn't theory, it's physiology. There's a reason monks chant when entering temples. There's a reason spiritual traditions bless the threshold. It's not superstition. It's the understanding that intention shapes experience. The doorway is a moment of power, and what you say as you cross it begins a new chapter in your energy, your thoughts, and your presence. You might wonder, what exactly should I say? Does it matter? The short answer is, it matters, but not in the way you think. The words don't have to be poetic or perfect. What matters most is the feeling behind them, the emotion they carry. For example, someone might say, "I'm home and I leave the world behind," while someone else might say, "Only peace enters with me." Another might prefer, "Let this space hold me gently." These aren't rules, they're invitations. In fact, many people choose one phrase and repeat it daily, like a ritual. This repetition turns it into a cue for your nervous system. Just like a lullaby signals sleep for a baby, your chosen phrase becomes a signal for your body to soften. The more consistently you use it, the more effective it becomes. Here's the key. It only takes 5 seconds, but over time, it rewires how your home feels to you. Not because the walls change, but because you change how you enter them. You start associating your living space with restoration, not exhaustion, and that subtle shift leads to deeper rest, more patience with loved ones, and a greater sense of emotional balance. Let's talk briefly about how this habit helps you stop carrying the day into your night. Most people don't realize that they never actually turn off. They physically leave work or errands or traffic, but mentally, they stay in those loops. Their inner dialogue keeps replaying arguments, stress, and deadlines. This is why so many people struggle to relax. Their bodies are home, but their minds are still in survival mode. The phrase you say at the door becomes a boundary, a soft, sacred line between out there and in here. It's a way of saying, that story ends here, I'm not bringing it inside. And the more you honor that line, the more space you create for calm, clarity, and emotional reset. To anchor your doorway ritual even more deeply, let's focus on the space itself. Your entryway is the first environment your senses meet when you cross the threshold. If it's cluttered, mail piled up, shoes scattered, coats half-hanging, your mind registers unfinished tasks before you've even had a chance to breathe. That visual noise competes with the calming phrase you just spoke. Conversely, a clear, welcoming entrance amplifies your words, turning them into an immediate felt experience. In essence, the design of your doorway becomes an ally to your intention. Begin with what monks call the sweep. Before bed or in the morning, take 2 minutes to clear the threshold. Straighten shoes, recycle junk mail, wipe the knob. It isn't house-proud perfectionism. It's a physical signal to the brain that the outside world's chaos stops here. Add one object that quietly reinforces your phrase. A small plant, if your words invoke life. A smooth stone if your mantra is about grounding. A candle if you speak of light. This single, purposeful item mirrors your message every time you see it, deepening the subconscious link between sight and spoken word. Next, refine the phrase itself so it feels alive, not mechanical. Choose present tense language because the subconscious responds best to immediacy. Peace is here lands more directly than peace will come. Keep it short, 7 words or fewer, so you can whisper it effortlessly even when your arms are full of groceries. If English isn't the language of your heart, translate it. What matters is resonance, not correctness. Speak slowly, on one exhale, letting the air leave your lungs as if you're releasing the outside world with it. Sound also matters. If you live with family, invite them to whisper or mentally repeat the phrase alongside you. When multiple voices share an intention, the emotional field of a home shifts faster. Imagine 4 household members each arriving at different times, but all saying, "Only calm enters here." By evening, the walls themselves seem to hum with quiet. Guests notice without knowing why. Children settle more easily. Pets rest sooner. The house begins to teach serenity back to its inhabitants because repetition has imprinted a new norm. But what if you come home angry or anxious and feel like a calm phrase is dishonest? Use a 2-step approach. First, acknowledge feeling. I'm wound up. Exhale sharply to let the body register the release. Then speak your doorway phrase. I return to calm. That honest sequence tells the nervous system, yes, tension is present, and yes, we're choosing to shift. Over time, this builds trust. Your body learns it's safe to let go here, not forced. Lighting supports this transition more than most people realize. Bright overhead bulbs mimic the outside world's pace. A softer lamp or warm LED strip near the door cues the brain toward parasympathetic mode. Pair that glow with your phrase, and you create a multisensory anchor, words, sight, and light aligning around a single message. Some place a small bowl of Himalayan salt or cedar by the entrance. Those earth scents reinforce grounding for scent-sensitive people, further stacking the cues. You might wonder how long it takes before you feel a tangible shift. For many, the first hint arrives in a few evenings. The moment they step inside, a reflexive sigh escapes. That sigh is neurophysiological proof. The vagus nerve has begun to associate home with down regulation. Within weeks, the phrase may spark a slight smile or a loosening in the shoulders you didn't consciously command. After a month of consistency, you may catch yourself pausing at a friend's door, realizing how jarring it feels to enter without that ritual. That's when you know the practice has migrated from conscious habit to embodied reflex. To personalize further, attach a micro movement. Some press a palm gently to the chest as they speak. Others touch the doorframe, acknowledging the boundary they're crossing. Physical contact magnifies neuroplasticity. The tactile cue multiplies the brain's association between space and state. Choose a subtle gesture you can perform even if someone's behind you in the hallway. Nothing dramatic, just enough for your nervous system to mark the transition. Remember, this ritual isn't about denial. Life will still bring conflict and noise. The purpose is to create a protected pocket where your inner world can reset, so you respond to life from calm rather than react from fatigue. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways that favor rest and digest over fight or flight. Over months, this can lower baseline cortisol, improve digestion, reduce evening cravings, and gently ease insomnia, not through force but through patterned permission to relax. Some viewers may ask, what if I live in a studio and the entry flows straight into my bed space? Even a single rug or small folding screen can delineate a symbolic threshold. It's the act of acknowledging the boundary, stepping onto that rug, breathing, speaking your words, that signals the shift. The brain honors symbolism. It doesn't need grandeur, only clarity. Think of your evening ritual as the spiritual punctuation mark at the end of your daily sentence. It signals not just the end of movement, but the beginning of stillness. When you speak your phrase upon entering your home, you're not only calming your body, you're rewiring how your inner world responds to transition. And the ripple effect is real. Over time, this 2-second ritual doesn't just change how you arrive home, it changes how you wake up the next morning. Let's say your entry phrase is something like, "Only peace lives here." If you say this each evening, you'll begin to find yourself hesitating before you react in anger at night, before snapping at a loved one, or before letting in the chaos of the day. The mind naturally begins to seek alignment with the phrase. It doesn't want contradiction. And so you start catching yourself, not because you're trying to control yourself, but because your nervous system now craves the peace it was promised. Words you once said out loud begin to echo silently in the background. In the morning, that residue remains. You wake up in a home that was encoded with calm the night before. You move through your morning routine with less tension, fewer rushed thoughts, and more space between impulses. You're more likely to meditate, stretch, or simply pause before diving into your phone. And that space, those moments of groundedness, translate into better decisions throughout the day. The way you enter your home shapes the way you move through the world. Some people notice subtle but profound shifts in their finances and productivity after committing to this practice. Why? Because a home that radiates calm provides the mental clarity needed to focus. Your brain doesn't perform well in environments that scream chaos or overwhelm. When your doorway becomes a zone of transition, your whole living space starts to reinforce focus and flow. You find it easier to plan, easier to rest, and easier to say no to things that once distracted you. And clarity in the home often leads to clarity in action. Now let's talk about resistance. There will be evenings when you forget the phrase. That's fine. When you remember, even hours later, simply walk to the door, pause, and speak it. The ritual doesn't need perfection to be powerful. It just needs consistency. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't abandon the plant because you missed a day. You water it again, and it keeps growing. The energy you build with your phrase will hold you even when life gets noisy. Let's also address a deeper layer: how your spoken words upon entering the home affect not only your state of mind, but also your subconscious beliefs. You are not just calming the surface, you are sending messages into your belief system. If your phrase is, "I return to wholeness," over time your mind begins to accept that you are not broken, that you don't need fixing, just remembering. This is the quiet power of subconscious reprogramming, done gently, through repeated exposure, and paired with physical action and intention. Some viewers may ask, can I change the phrase over time? Yes, and in fact that's encouraged. As your life evolves, so can your mantra. Perhaps you begin with, "Only calm enters here," but later find yourself shifting to, "Abundance begins now," or, "I am safe in this space." Just ensure that you stay with each phrase long enough for it to imprint. A good rule of thumb is 30 days. Let it saturate your space and your psyche, then evolve it when it feels natural. Not because you're bored, but because you've outgrown it. It's also important to explore how other elements of your home respond to the energy you create with this practice. You may notice that clutter begins to bother you more. That's a sign that your nervous system is healing, because calm no longer tolerates visual noise. You might find yourself rearranging furniture to create clearer pathways or choosing softer lighting for the evenings. These are not cosmetic shifts. They are external reflections of an internal transformation. Your home is beginning to express the new frequency you're living in. This doorway ritual can even serve as a gentle protection mechanism. On difficult days, when you've been surrounded by tension, chaos, or negative people, this one phrase becomes a filter. You stand at your door, speak it aloud, and symbolically release all that doesn't belong in your sacred space. It's like closing an emotional gate. What stays outside is not banished in anger, but kindly not invited in. And what comes in is what you choose. Now, let's return to the core principle. You are not saying magic words. You are activating awareness. The phrase doesn't work because it's mystical. It works because it makes you pause. It makes you present. And presence, more than any object or decoration, is what transforms a house into a sanctuary. When you pause and speak with intention, even for 2 seconds, you remind your body and mind who is in charge, not the world, not the noise, but you. If you've made it this far, you're ready to try this yourself. But before you go, I'd love to know, what words would you speak at your doorway? If you feel ready, write them in the comments. Let this video be the first place where your new phrase lives. You'll be surprised how much power a few quiet words can hold when they're spoken with awareness. If you found value in this practice, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and leave your phrase in the comments. And remember, your home isn't just a place. It's a reflection of your inner world. The moment you cross the threshold, you have the power to choose calm again and again. Thank you for watching. Your peace begins with one breath, one step, and one sentence. Welcome home.